My client was stressed and anxious and sad. She was crying. When you lose a spouse and you cannot take care of the house anymore, for many reasons. For one reason is because you're alone. The second reason is age. As we age, we become less mobile, and it's a lot more difficult to go up and down the stairs. And she actually had an injury that was contributing to her inability to climb up and down. And her niece was worried that she's so far away and she doesn't have anybody else to kind of hold her hand and help her through those things. We first needed to come up with a plan of how to get this house ready to sell. And one of the things that was important for me to know, what was more important, to sell the house and avoid any involvement that needed to get the house into a better condition, or was it more important to get also the highest possible price for the home? And the answer was, we want to sell it as fast as possible, but we also want to sell it for the most highest possible price. And at that point, I needed to come up with a plan. And first I needed to look at the entire house, because we were sitting at the kitchen table, and I needed to figure out what is going on there. What does it look like? What needs to be done to bring it to a point where, without spending any money, to a place where it can be put on a market and actually can get the highest price for the condition of the house. The first challenge that we encountered was there was a lot of decluttering that needs to be done. And it's very understandable, because when we live in the house for so many years, what do? We collect stuff, right? We don't really think about that we're going to have to move. And especially there's a lot of people who kind of feel like this is their home and that's it. They're not going anywhere. That was a big project. When you tell people, well, we need to declutter, what happens? Overwhelm right away. What do I do first? I suggested that it would be important to categorize everything. We need to sort out, what are you going to keep? What are you going to throw away? And what are you not sure about? That's because I don't want to put people in a situation where they have to make fast decisions and then they end up getting rid of things that they really didn't want to, or they are keeping things that actually then they realize that they don't want to. So a good way to go about it is to categorize things. We're talking about clothes, we're talking about items, we're talking about furniture, right? And we're talking about a lot of paperwork that we collect over the years. And there was a question of, okay, how do we do that? And I said, well, why don't we create a colored sticky note system? They love the idea, good strategy. Also, you don't have to physically remove things from day one. There was a time limit on everything because her niece was only staying for a few days and then she was going back home. So they asked me, okay, what should we do first? So helping her go through the paperwork is very important to do, because paperwork has confidential information in there. No stranger should be getting involved in your personal paperwork. That was to tackle the fact that her niece is leaving, she's far away, and then we need somebody here who can keep things in order. And I said, I will be coming here on a regular basis, help my client handle and deal with those challenges if they happen to arrive. And of course, they do arrive because we're dealing with elderly person, we're going through an emotional hardship, going through items when you lose a spouse or somebody who's dear to you, going through the items. It's not a pleasant experience. It's always so difficult. She was crying so many times and I was comforting her so many times, but that's okay. I mean, that's what this business is all about. So we needed to get things moving along slowly but surely and kind of on schedule. So we finally got things done, and now it was time to kind of, okay, now we have everything separated. So now we have to figure out what are we doing with all of these things, right? So one of the things that we decided to do is I offered my trash removal guys who also do movings, we can get these guys to come and pick up all of the trash and pick up all of the furniture that you want to trash. However, I don't think we should do it right away because as we move along, we might come across other items that you might want to throw away, and we don't want to keep getting people coming in again and again because every time somebody comes in, obviously it's going to cost you money. And my job is to help you as much as I can, maximize the sale of your house, but limit how much money you spend, if any, to get that to the place, to the point where we can put it on a market. So I suggested let's take all the trash. No, it's not don't take trash, meaning what you're going to not take away from you. And let's put it all in one place, which in this situation, that was the enclosed screen room. So that went there. Now for the stuff that she decided that she's going to keep, I suggested that let's pack it in boxes already, because since you're going to be taking them with you, you might as well pack it. Let's pack it now, because why do the same job twice? So that's the system basically that we use to declutter the entire house and put things out of the way. And it worked pretty well because at that point, we basically had just furniture in every room with no clutter because everything was sorted out. And then we encountered a challenge because there was a whole big wall unit that she had, and she couldn't figure out what is she going to do with that. I could tell that she was so overwhelmed, even trying to think about it. So I said to her, look, whatever you have in the wall unit is not going to bother anybody right now. Leave it. We're going to deal with it later. That's not that important. And I could tell how relieved she was, because this is a lot. This is a lot for even that I was helping her and her family was helping her and a friend who's emotionally supporting her. It is still very, very hard to pack up your life from a 4-bedroom house. And think about it, you're moving to, like, she was moving to a 1-bedroom assisted living place, even though that place is amazing. It's beautiful. I would live there. But it's a lot. It's a lot to condense in such a short period of time. So I had to maneuver between trying to get things moving along, but at the same time, not pushing her that hard that she completely gets overwhelmed or crashed or sad or hopeless. So I want to make sure that she's going to be okay and taken care of along the way. Once we got from all that, we finally had the house ready for sale. But at that point, she felt that she was ready to get the guys to get all the trash out. So we got the guys, and then I didn't want her to be by herself. So I offered and I said, look, I'm going to come, I'm going to stay with you to make sure that everything is done and you feel comfortable. I actually have a picture of the guys moving some stuff out. And now we just need to get the house cleaned before I can actually shoot some photographs and then create the marketing so I can put the house for sale on the market. So I get my cleaning crew. They come, spick and span, clean everything. Finally, we get that done, and now we're ready for the photos. So I get the photos done, I get the marketing done, I schedule an open house, I put the house on the market, and we get hit with a huge snowstorm. That's actually multiple snowstorms. We haven't had that in Staten Island, New York for years.
So you got the house cleaned and the marketing ready. Then the snowstorms hit right as it went on the market? How did you manage all that, especially with the family out of state?
Yeah, oh my gosh. So the open house is scheduled. The strategy was to get the open house done, get a ton of people in, and get offers that week because my homeowner did not want to get through all this showings back and forth and all that stuff. All the snow removal guys are busy because it's snow and everybody is using them. I'm like, there's no way. Now I can't shovel the snow. But let me try my contractor. So I give him a call and I was like, Alex, do you shovel snow? And he's like, in my house, I do. I said, I said how about shoveling snow in one of my clients' houses that I need to do an open house for and I need the snow shovels? So he agreed. He wanted to see what he needed to shovel. And I went there and I videoed what needed to be, all the walkways to make sure that people that come to the open house can actually go into the backyard and see everything. Because I didn't want to leave everything to like chance, because who knows when that snowstorm is going to disappear and it's going to get warm. We were having freezing weather. It took forever, like 2 weeks before snow started to melt. When I create a strategy, I have to make sure that I make that happen, because then that strategy is not going to create the outcome that intended to be created, right? So I go there and I take the videos and then I fall on the snow on my side. But anyway, I'm okay. I didn't get hurt. And I sent him the video. We decide that I want him to shovel like on a Saturday, because the day before the open house. And then I already prepared and I bought snow melt so I can go after he shovels and put snow melt the day of the open house to make sure that people are safe. So we get that done. I schedule the 1 hour open house. I have a strategy why I do that. If anybody ever wants to know what it is, you can comment below and ask me and I'll be happy to share with you. So many people, it was freezing cold. I get a line for like 2 blocks and the 1 hour open house turned out to be 3 hours. So the line just 2 blocks away, the line is just people are waiting in line to get into the house, and cold, snow, whatever, that's serious buyers right there.
That's an incredible turnout, especially in that kind of weather. It sounds like your strategy paid off big time with all those serious buyers. After all that interest, what happened with the sale? Did you get offers right away?
Hell yeah. So we got 5 offers right away. Now, keep in mind, this house is not for everybody because it needed some work. And we've got offers over asking price. And that's exactly what I wanted to happen, because I'm a strong believer that unless my client is put in the driver's seat when we can call the shots, we can get our terms the way that we want them, then what's the point, right?
Exactly. You got your client into a strong position. With 5 offers over asking price, what were the next steps in negotiating that you took for them?
Yeah, so the idea was that we wanted to get into contract quickly because I didn't want to lose the other potential buyers in case buyers change their mind, right? So like here on Staten Island, we don't go to contract right away. We have an acceptance on a piece of paper that means absolutely nothing. And then people have to go through home inspections, and then they only try to get and then the contract is being done. And before you know it, 2 weeks passes. So one of the provisions that we had in for our offers is it has to be an as-is sale. The home inspection has to be done within a day or two. And after that, if the buyer's moving forward, the contract has to be signed right away. And that's what we accomplished. My clients were ecstatic because we didn't have to go back and forth and keep showing the house.
That's great that they were so happy. It sounds like your quick action and smart negotiating really delivered results for them, especially avoiding those back and forth showings. What was the final outcome of the sale?
During that time, my client needed to be moving out. But then again, she's here all by herself. We went through the process of looking at what she's keeping again versus what she's taking with her. I had her family involved throughout the entire process. One of the things that I do is even if your family is in another state, in another country, far away, I make sure that everybody is informed and understand the process and where we are in the process. So every time we completed a stage, I had everybody in the group chat, and I would inform everybody. During the offers time and the negotiations time, I suggested that we do Zoom meetings, because this is negotiations and conversations and offer presentations. This is not something you could just send in a text or forward an email with some documents that a homeowner or a person who's not a realtor is not used to looking at documents like that, and it's going to take them forever to just understand what is what. So I prefer to keep my clients all involved, and since her family members were far away, then we did Zoom meetings. And her niece and nephew were going to come back towards the end to just transition her from her house into the assisted living where she was moving to. And in the same time, there were some heirlooms that she wanted them to keep, but we needed to keep them safe because most of them would break if we didn't. I offered to help, and what I've done is I brought some like a huge roll of bubble wrap and a box, and I helped her pack. Actually, I did the packing and wrap every one of them and put them in a safe, in a box, and tape it and put it aside for them to come and pick it up. But then we encountered a situation where the closing date and the time that they were coming here did not align at all. I could tell that they were extremely worried because I think that they really wanted to be there for her and kind of support her and be able to go to the closing with her. But schedules did not align. And I felt that. And they asked me, would you be able to go to the closing? And I said, yeah, I usually do unless I have another appointment, but I'm going to make sure that I don't make any appointments for that time when I find out when the closing is, so I can make sure that I could go with her and hold her hand. And at that point, she asked me if I would pick her up, and I was like, yeah, of course I'll pick you up. So I picked her up. We went to the closing, and we closed on the house. And everybody's so happy with it.
That's a really thorough approach. So you used group chats and Zoom meetings to keep everyone in the loop, even from afar? And you personally helped her pack up those heirlooms. It sounds like that close communication and personal support were key, especially when the closing dates didn't line up. How did it feel to be able to step in and help her through that final transition, driving her to the closing and being there for her at the end?
You know, the whole experience, I mean, it is a lot of work. It's way out of my realtor duties, right? But I get involved. I roll my sleeves. I do whatever I feel that, whatever I know that my client needs. It's just the whole thing to being able to do that for someone and help someone, especially in those kind of overwhelmed and oh my God, how many times did she cry? How many times did I had to comfort her and hug her and hold her, and but that's the part of what I do that actually makes it worthwhile to be able to be there for someone who's in need, someone who's lost, someone who's overwhelmed, sad, you know, all of these things. That's what makes what I do so fulfilling and so amazing.
It's clear you go above and beyond for your clients. Being there to comfort her through such an emotional time, that dedication really speaks volumes. Looking back at the whole process, what would you say was the most critical moment for helping her achieve her goal?
The most critical was probably her emotional state through the process. She would cry and then she would laugh, and I would call her every day, the days that I couldn't come actually and visit, because I visited her a lot. But I would call her every day and like, how you doing today? And sometimes she would say, I'm okay. And sometimes she would say, oh, I'm just I just cried, or I feel like crying, and then we will have a little conversation. Everything else, I know what I'm doing. I know the plan. I know the goal. I know what needs to be done. Yeah, that's a lot of work, but that's easy. As far as dealing with the emotional, helping someone that has to transition when they didn't even expect or plan to transition is really the critical point.
That makes sense. Providing that emotional support and connection was clearly essential for her. Beyond your daily calls, were there any other specific moments where you felt that support made a big difference?
Oh yeah, the entire transaction. But her family was so, even though they were far away, we all worked together. They were so helpful as well. There was a time that I felt like she wasn't doing very well, and I was kind emotionally, and I was kind of thinking to myself, well, do I contact the family and kind of tell them that that's my opinion? It wasn't a fact, right? It's just an observation. And I was like, where do you keep your balance here? And I was thinking to myself, am I overstepping boundaries if I'm going to come out and say that? And then I kind of thought about it and I said, look, it's my duty and obligation. If I send something, if God forbid something happens and I did not at least share what I was feeling or sensing, that there was something wrong at some point with her emotional state, I would be devastated. I would be like hitting myself over the head. What? And I decided to take that chance, knowing that I built a very good relationship with the entire family, and I just couldn't not do it. So I did it, and they were so helpful. They were able to reach out to her and actually do their thing in comforting her and bringing things back into where they needed to be.
That was a brave choice, and it clearly paid off by bringing the family together to help her. Since she's moved into the assisted living now, how's she settling in? Have you heard how she's doing?
Yeah, I mean, after the closing, I brought her back, and she did not do what she was supposed to do. She was supposed to cancel her utilities and everything. And I don't know why, but something prompted me. And I said to her, did you cancel your utilities from the house? And she's like, no. And I'm like, oh no, we got to do that. And she couldn't find anything. And I said to her, okay, let me come upstairs with you. And then we went upstairs, said, let me try to help you. So I helped her get on the computer and cancel her utilities. And yes, I have been following up with her, just checking in, say how you doing, and she's an elderly lady who misses her husband, who had to sell her house and move to us from a 4-bedroom home to a 1-bedroom assisted living. One day she's sad, one day she's happy, and but she's okay. She's okay.
It's been inspiring to hear how you guided this widow through such a complex and emotional process. To wrap up, what's the main takeaway you want people to know about your role as a transition concierge realtor in situations like this?
Yeah, I think a lot of people have the misconception that realtors, they're in a box where they do, they take the house, they put it on the market, and they're waiting for the closing check. Not everyone. There are people out there like myself who go above and beyond and really care about our clients and really get involved in everything that I can, even if it's not part of my job description. Actually, I'm going to share a card from her family who was a part with exactly what they said. And you can see it for yourself. So if you need if you have a special situation, if you have someone who is overwhelmed with chaos, you can schedule a free strategy call with me and we can review everything together. And I'd be happy to see if I am the person who can get you from chaos to closing.